Pokemon Sword and Shield is full of some of the weirdest, most off-putting, unnerving, creepy, creatures to ever walk the land. But also, some of the Pokemon are really messed up too. From creepy to terrifying to downright, why do you exist? There is a lot to unpack, and today we're going to do just that, with 5 of them. So, in at number 5 then, we have Orbeetle. I adore Orbeetle. I think he is really quite cool and an interesting take on the basic bug line of the gen, and I am restricting myself to new Pokemon. So we have ourselves his Gigantamax form then, the goddamn mothership bug. And even the fact I can describe it as that already just gives me all sorts of images that I really don't want.
You're some kind of big, fat, smart bug, aren't you?
If it were to utilize every last bit of its power, it could control the minds of every living being. What? What? It's just their station in the center of the Galar region. It goes full whoa. Everyone just stops what they're doing. Just pauses. Just looks up. Their eyes flash. And in a zombie-like trance. Yes, Orbeetle. And they all just start marching to his rhythm. This is a Pokemon that has the ability to turn an entire population into its mind slaves. And if that doesn't give you a moment of, what is wrong with these creatures? Who writes these entries? How does anyone do anything in this horrific world masked by pretty colors? And look, I realize this one isn't even that bad, but again, restricted to Galarian Pokemon, but also, I still feel like, imagine a world that has a proper dark take on Pokemon. It would be over like that. The amount of them that can do incomprehensible large-scale damage, most of the time by just fucking existing. But to get to the smaller scale, then, next up, we are going for Galarian Darmanitan, our snowy friend. And while on a design level, I don't know who went, we're kind of struggling what to do with the little flamey bits that he has, like little flamey eyebrows for the snowy version. Do you have any ideas? Just put a circle on his face. What? We can't just put a circle on his face. That would look weird, and not to mention plain. Put 3 little crystals on it. Oh, what? You want just a circle with crystals on it? Yeah! And look, I know it's supposed to be a snowball, because he's snowy now, but I think the fact remains, it looks like garbage! However, we're here for what it be that's like, and that is when it turns into its flaming mode and becomes a flaming snowman. Well, the anger is overwhelming. Its flame sack bursting back into life, and the reason it gets me is it's so angry that it will not stop spewing fire until it's calmed down, and then the kicker, even if its own body starts to melt. This Pokemon gets so angry that it kills itself via melting. You just think about that for a while. It melts itself in its own fire. Its own body starts to liquidize and drop away because the fucker can't calm down. Now that is commitment to being annoyed. That really is going the extra mile at making sure you stay furious. Next up, then, is Appleton, which, well, I personally don't like. Objectively, it is a quirky, it is a fun design, and I can see why a lot of people do. However, it has a, well, interesting relationship with children all around, and that is, its back is covered in sweet nectar, and the skin found on top of it is especially yummy, and children have it as a snack. Which means this motherfucking Pokemon is minding its own goddamn business when a swarm of kids come up and start peeling away its back skin and eating it. Just chowing down on this living apple pie. And that is quite something to imagine. Like, someone's there like, kids, I've got a surprise for you. Go, Appleton! I'm sure it's not that violent. Probably, hopefully, but the fact remains it's just a common little treat. Like, here, yeah, go on then, Billy. Peel off a slice of that living, sentient animal and eat it. Eat it while it sits there unable to do anything about it despite being a bloody dragon. But of course that's not why we're here. We're not here because it's so just woo that it forgets what it is battling mid-fight. I mean, that is the expression of, I don't know where I am, where I'm going, who I am, or what I'm doing, but I'm gonna eat me a fucking Pikachu. And eat a Pikachu it does. Like, what? Why? I can't believe they've literally shown Pokemon eating another Pokemon. Of course they do. They hunt each other all the time. There's plenty of Pokedex entries that talk about how they hunt each other. But never so literally shown, because, you know, they like to paint the world as, oh, the Pokemon are happy in harmony and nothing ever dies, Pokemon! And I couldn't believe when I first saw this that they actually showed it trying to scarf down the fish and then, of course, a Pikachu. So firstly, it likes to get itself the Arrokuda, which makes sense. It's a bird, dives under the water, scoops one up. Plenty of our own birds do that upon the sea. Aye, they be fishing birds. And that's all well and good, and it spits it at you. Fantastic. It's the Pikachu that really gets me. Because that Pikachu is struggling for its life, and its head is buried in that throat, and there's no way it can breathe. And I know it can't breathe because the half-swallowed Pikachu is so startled that it isn't struggling yet. If you say so. But, right, Cramorant is choking a little, but it isn't really bothered. Excuse me? Cramorant is choking a little, but it isn't really bothered. It's there with this flailing Pikachu in its throat, just, and in its head it's like, this is fine. I'm a Cramorant, and really, death is preferable. And I find that both fantastic, but also, Cramorant. The idea of this thing's vacant-eyed expression, whether it's just complete stupidity or it's seen something so horrific its soul has been ever snapped in twain, is there literally choking on a Pikachu while its trainer is yelling instructions in the background, while it forgets why it is even where it is, what is it fighting, what is it even doing. It's just this horrific coming together of factors that just to me make it so sad. Like, this Pokemon is just sad, and that's something else to me. It really is. But what is most something else to me is, and I imagine a lot of you know about this one, but it has to be talked about, Hatterene, okay? Firstly, I really like the look of this thing, at least the middle form. I think the final evolution is kind of, but I do like this little, the body just swaying there, being held up on the hair. I think it's quite a cute, nice little design. But then you look at this thing, right? Look into its eyes, and know this. No matter who you are, if you bring strong emotions near this Pokemon, it will silence you violently. And then you look at it and it's like, okay, I'm gonna walk away now. And no matter who you are, by the way, which likely means if you're its trainer, something bad's happened, you had an awful day, something sad has occurred, you know, maybe you've lost someone, or, you know, even if it's not that extreme, you lost your wallet on the way home, you get in and you're like, ugh, go, Hatterene, let me tell you about my... And it just immediately tries to execute you. But then we go to Hatterene, its final form, right? If you're too loud around it, you risk being torn apart by the claws on its tentacle. The Pokemon is known as the Forest Witch. Okay, I would be immediately torn apart by its tentacle. Granted, that is the way I choose to go, but also granted, what the fuck? And then beyond that, its Gigantamax form, this Pokemon can read the emotion of creatures over 30 miles away. 30 miles! And then, the minute it senses hostility, it goes on the attack. So if you are within 30 miles of a Gigantamax Hatterene, this huge colossal kaiju of a monster is now bearing down on you with as much speed and fury as it can muster to remove you from this earth because you are feeling a little bit grouchy. And that, to me, given how supposedly innocent and, oh yeah, it's just a pink soft Pokemon, it looks, is just terrifying, but also absolutely phenomenal. So that's my number one, by far and away, death on tentacle legs from 30 miles away just because you dropped something and went, ah, fuck. It's over at that point, and yes. Like you've enjoyed this, guys, let me know yours, subscribe for more, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video flow.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.